Now available on Kickstarter, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this all-new Kickstarter exclusive John Haynes comic book. Put in your pledge and get the standard, variant, or retro covers of John Haynes at Death's Door and other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter today. A trio of women caused chaos at a New York City high-end restaurant when they were told they would have to pay $1.75 for dipping sauce. Now, in this incident, which took place on July 4th, 3 females went into the Bell Fries restaurant on Manhattan's Lower East Side and ordered some French fries from the restaurant. Now, these women became irate when they were told that they would have to pay $1.75 for dipping sauce for their fries, and they went into a temper tantrum where they tore up the front end of the restaurant, threw bottles at several of the workers, and even stole $10 out of the cash register. Now, in the aftermath of this incident, these 3 females were arrested, and the police are seeing this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the dysfunctional behavior that these 3 black females participated in, it fits the pattern and profile for toxic females that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And it's clear to me that these 3 women came into that restaurant with a sense of entitlement. Now, these 3 females went to Bell Fries thinking that Bell Fries would be the same as the Arab red and white chicken place or the Chinese restaurants that they were used to in the hood. However, they didn't understand that Bell Fries was not some hood Arab red and white chicken place or some Chinese restaurant, and you couldn't go there and make a demand to get your sauces like you do at the Arab red and white chicken place or at the Chinese restaurants in the hood. No, your Bell Fries was one of these high-end restaurants, and as a high-end restaurant, they had a completely different standard than the hood spots that these females were used to going. Now, these females, I believe, went to the Bell Fries restaurant to call themselves showing out at 4 a.m. And they went to this restaurant thinking, oh, I'm just going to go here and get something to eat at this Bell Fries and show everybody how much of a boss chick I am, because I'm going to go into this high-end restaurant and I'm going to make an order for fries. And what they did was they thought, oh, I'm going to come in here, order these fries that are really expensive. And what happened was that they probably didn't have enough money to cover the dipping sauce. And that's when they wound up losing it, because these females wound up getting embarrassed because they came in here trying to pose like boss chicks, and they came in here trying to show out with their money. But then when they saw that the dipping sauce was going to cost them extra, that's when they got upset, because their whole front that they were trying to perpetrate got completely shattered. Possibly, as I believe, these hood rats came out here with a little bit of money, and they thought, oh, I'll go into this Bell Fries restaurant and I'll try to show out by ordering that small order of fries, and then as I'm ordering the small amount of fries, then I'll go get this dipping sauce and act like I went to some high-end restaurant and I went out here and I had a good time. But what happened was that their whole facade got shattered, because as they were trying to perpetrate like they were, again, boss chicks and being the big shot, they couldn't do that, because you're sitting here in this fast food restaurant and you can't even pay for the dipping sauce. So basically, all these 3 of these females look like fools. And they look like fools because they were out here trying to floss and show out and trying to impress people by saying that they were these big time independent women. But they weren't. They were looking like a bunch of hood rats, because they stepped into this restaurant without enough money to cover the basics of purchasing a basic item. Because when you go into a place like a Bell Fries, you know that you need to have your money straight, and these females basically were shown to not have their money straight, because anybody else who would have stepped up in there would have understood, okay, this is a high-end restaurant, and as a high-end restaurant, I have to have the money not just for the fries, but I also have to have the money for the sauces. So these females, they didn't have the money like they thought they had, and then they were in this place with all of these whites and non-blacks, and they got themselves embarrassed. And then as they got embarrassed, they wanted to go out here and explode in rage and tear up the place, because they knew that they could not hang in that place. So they sought to destroy the Bell Fries restaurant, because they couldn't go out here and show out like they would at a place like the Arab red and white chicken place, where the Arab guy, yes, he'll give you a packet of ketchup for free. The lady in the Chinese restaurant, she'll give you some ketchup for free. But in a high-end restaurant, they're not going to give you stuff for free. No, if you go into one of these establishments, you have to know the rules of that establishment. And these females walked into this establishment thinking that they were going to go out here and pose and act like big shots, because I guarantee you, if they had the money, these same females would be on TikTok or YouTube talking about, girl, I'm going over to the Bell Fries. I got the money for it. I'm a boss chick. I got my dipping sauces. That's where the way these females would have been if they had went into that restaurant and were able to get dipping sauces for free. They would have been posing and trying to make everybody jealous as they ordered the smallest order of fries, and then tried to perpetrate like they were some sort of high roller. But they couldn't go out here and pose as high rollers. No, they got embarrassed by the staff in the restaurant when they told them that the price of the dipping sauce was extra. And these females probably finished blowing all their money in the club, and since there were no simps there to go and cover their costs like they did at the club, these females felt real stupid and felt real bad, and then they wound up wanting to tear up the place, going on a rampage where they literally were throwing fries at the workers, throwing bottles at the workers, ripping up the plastic partition. I mean, going into a complete temper tantrum like a small child. And as they were going into this temper tantrum, people were filming this, and the video went viral. And sadly, as this video went viral, we got another embarrassing image of toxic black female behavior that basically embarrassed the entire race. Because these females, they went into this place acting a fool, not thinking about how bad they were going to make the image of black women look. And the irony is that they came to this place looking to play the big shot, looking to play the independent black woman, but all they did was go out here and breathe brand new life into old stereotypes regarding the image of black women, saying that black women are violent and out of control, and acting no different than the black females who we see in numerous videos of McDonald's and Popeyes restaurants, and even small-time Arab red and white chicken places. Basically, it was embarrassing, because here we had the so-called educated professional black female who is supposed to have all of these degrees, but she cannot understand how to carry and conduct herself in a social situation where she comes up short. Now, again, $1.75 for some dipping sauce isn't that much money, but when you're trying to perpetrate, you don't have that money to go out here and spend on a dipping sauce, because when it comes down to females like this, they basically live paycheck to paycheck, and they live off their supplementary income from simps. So they're not really carrying a lot of cash on them, so they cannot go out here and pay their own way. They'll sit there and talk about how they're boss chicks and independent women and how they have so much money. But these same females, when you go into a place like a Belle Fries, they can't cover their own costs because they usually don't have a lot of money, even though they've got the jobs that make all of this money. These females basically blow their money because they don't have good budgeting skills, and they don't really understand that if you're going to go out to a place like a Belle Fries, you got to have your money straight. I mean, I know for a fact if I go into a high-end restaurant like a Belle Fries, I'm going to go in there understanding that this is a high-end restaurant. I'm going to have to spend some money for stuff because the rules here are different, and I have to have my money and my papers straight before I go in there, because if I go in there and I don't have my papers straight, I'm going to embarrass myself the same way these females embarrass themselves by going into a place that's high-end, looking to play the big shot, looking to try to impress people, and then leaving a bad impression on everyone because basically everybody sees you as the broke chick, not the boss chick, because only a broke chick is going to get upset over having to pay extra for dipping sauce in a high-end restaurant. No, when you go to a high-end restaurant, you know that the rules are different there. You know that the environment is different there, and the standards there are completely different. So if you go there, you know that, again, you have to have your money straight in order to go in this place, because yes, they're going to charge you extra for certain things, and that's something that anybody who goes into high-end restaurants know about. But your hood rats don't know about these kinds of unwritten social rules, because your hood rats, they only know about ghetto spots like that Arab red and white chicken place, or that Chinese restaurant, or at the highest of the high end for them, it's McDonald's. So they're not used to going into a spot like a Belle Fries, and they're not used to spending money like people who go to Belle Fries do. No, these females, all they know is the Arab spot where they can go out here and get loud, and the Arab guy gives them some extra sauce, or the Chinese restaurant where they can go out here and get some extra sauce for getting loud, or the McDonald's. They don't know how to go out here and be social in a place like a Belle Fries, and that's what freaked out a lot of the workers at that restaurant. And that restaurant, the people who worked there and the owner was so traumatized that they wound up closing the restaurant for repairs after they tore up the spot. So I believe the real reason why they closed the restaurant is because people there were so freaked out by the berserk behavior of these kinds of females, and they were so terrified by it that they didn't want to go back into a restaurant like that, because this incident took place at 4 o'clock in the morning at Belle Fries, and they were not ever expecting something like that. But as somebody who grew up in the South Bronx and has seen these type of crazy in fast food restaurants, I understand how these types of females operate, and this is why many spots don't open really late, and this is also why many spots jack up their prices, because they don't want to attract this crowd, because you get this type of crowd when you have things like the McDonald's dollar menu. I remember back in like the late 20-teens, I used to go to McDonald's and I used to get the dollar menu, and you'd see these kinds of people here. And these type of females, they have a really strong sense of entitlement. They come into your spot, they try to buy stuff for cheap, but then they feel owed to everything in your business, and that causes a lot of fights and a lot of drama. So a lot of businesses like McDonald's started going out here and getting rid of their dollar menus because they didn't want to attract this crowd. And I have a feeling that Belle Fries may possibly wind up driving up its prices and reducing its hours, because they don't want to deal with this crowd, and they don't want to deal with these kind of individuals who are low, because they come into your spot They have a sense of entitlement, they have a bad attitude, and then they want to go and tear up your spot over something as trivial as $1.75 sauce. I wouldn't be, again, losing my mind over $1.75 sauce. I would understand that this is how they do their business. Unfortunately, hood chicks don't understand and don't how they do business. And again, these are the same ones who want to pose and say that they have all these airs as related to their education, but they show us how they don't have a good social education. Yes, they've got the degrees, yes, they've got the big jobs, but they don't have any decorum or any couth due to the dysfunctional way that they have been raised. And that's what makes these women in crisis, because yes, they've got their education, yes, they are so-called boss chicks, but these boss chicks don't know how to lead themselves in a social situation. And because they don't know how to lead themselves or carry themselves in a social situation, they show us that they don't really know how to carry and conduct themselves in public. Because if you go into a high-end restaurant and you make an order, you have to understand that if you can't afford the sauce, then possibly you're in the wrong place. And again, these females probably had no money on their debit card, no cash on them, and they were possibly hoping that they would find some simp in this kind of spot. But their simps don't go to these kinds of spots unless they're bringing their own lady. So these women were up a creek. They were embarrassed to the highest level, and that's what made these females act out. And that's why these women became women in crisis, and they show us the dysfunction of the American female, who has been enabled for many years. And many of these females, because they're enabled, they believe they are justified in acting crazy like this because no one has taught them about boundaries. Nobody has taught them how to carry and conduct themselves in social situations. And this is why they act crazy in spots like this, because they don't even know how to navigate life in the world, because they were never taught female life skills by a woman. No, they were taught by feminists that they were supposed to get everything that they want, and when they don't get what they want, you just act berserk. But we have consequences in our society, and these females learned hard consequences once they got arrested for destroying these people's property, and they will possibly learn even more if these people take a civil suit out against them for destroying their property. The way we deal with out of control women like this is by setting order on them, by holding them accountable, because the big problem with females like this is they have never been held accountable for their behavior. They've never been made to take responsibility for their behavior, so they think it's okay to go out here and act crazy when they can't get their way. But we need more adults to come out here and hold these females accountable, hold a line as related to their behavior, and that's how we reestablish order, so we won't see many of these types of embarrassing incidents, because these females trashing this high-end French fried restaurant is the same behavior we've seen for over a decade in fast food restaurants all across the country. And this dysfunctional behavior just came to the fast food restaurant because we have enabled this behavior for years, and we have not really set boundaries for American women. And because we don't set boundaries for American women, they escalate their behavior to out of control incidents like this. So this incident was one that was really disturbing, and it just shows sadly how some black women were not taught discipline, not taught self-control, and it just shows how our American black women are in crisis, because they've learned to become feminists and not women, and they don't understand that the way that they act reflects badly on black women, because they believe they have the right to do whatever they please. And the sad part is nobody has set a boundary for them, and because nobody set a boundary for them, these females act like this, and they think it's perfectly okay. But we need more people to understand that the way we solve this woman crisis is by, again, setting standards for women and setting boundaries for women, because this type of behavior, it reflects not only badly on American black women, but it reflects badly on black men, because it says that black men are weak, and when your women are out of control, it says that you are, your whole country is out of control, your community is out of control, and if you can't get your lady in order, then it says that you are a place where people can go out here and exploit and take advantage of you. So this is a really bad situation here as related to this fry shop. And again, this fry shop just shows us how many of these so-called educated black women are not, the only place you can take them is the Arab red and white chicken place, because that's the only place they know how to behave in. And if you take them somebody other place, they may embarrass you like this. Now, my book, The Woman Crisis, will be coming this fall, and I'll be going in depth on why American women are in this dysfunctional state that they are. So, The Woman Crisis, again, is going to be coming this fall. So, if you want to pick up some of my other nonfiction, like Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, to learn more about their dysfunction, that book is available right now. And if you want to see me make more men's issues videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today.